Welcome back to another episode of Stand on Guard. I'm your host, David Krayden, and I'm broadcasting to you live from Ottawa. When we come back, it's a sad day for not just conservatives, but humanity. And with the murder, assassination of Charlie Kirk, and we'll be discussing that. Thanks for joining me this morning. We'll be back in mere moments.
The Prime Minister lied and his minions continue to lie.
Your home is your castle. We're calling on the government to introduce and immediately pass the Stand on Guard law.
But we also need to resolve to resist.
Yes, please like the station. Really appreciate everything you've done to support us. Subscribe. That's so important. And everything you do to make the station better, to help us survive, is always appreciated. So Charlie Kirk yesterday, more than a conservative activist. I'll be reading what I wrote for Human Events this morning. And I really encourage you to have a look at that article. It just literally went up 5 minutes ago. And I don't know quite how to say this. This was a political assassination. It was a murder. And I'm just personally shocked at the response from the mainstream media in Canada and the US, trying to frame this around this being somehow President Donald Trump's fault. Or even worse, from the leftist MSNBC, they actually had a guy on there yesterday suggesting it was Charlie Kirk's fault. He got assassinated because he got people angry. And this, to me, is the height of stupidity. But it goes beyond just being brain dead to say these things. This is demonic. And I was on my good friend Mark Patron's radio show just a half an hour ago, talking about this. That's Saga 960. And we're all in shock over this, because this was not a politician. And I'm not saying it's okay or it's understandable if a politician is assassinated, but this was basically a journalist activist who spent most of his time reaching out to youth at campuses across the United States with Turning Point USA. And he encouraged students to debate ideas. He was not into indoctrination. Accept what I'm saying or else, which is what, of course, academia has been doing for decades. His point was simply, here's what I believe. If you don't believe that, tell me, show me, demonstrate to me why I should believe something else. But I can tell you why I think you should believe this. It's called free speech. It's called free thought. It's called discourse. It's called debate, which is what academia used to be all about. But for the past 30, 40 years, it's been all about imposed neo-Marxist ideology. And Charlie Kirk came against that front and center. I just want to have a look at some of the wonderful comments that came out of a lot of folks yesterday. And like I say, we're hoping to have Katie Passatney on the show later. I'm not sure why she hasn't responded so far this morning, but we're hoping to have her. And this is incredible. Governor Cox of Utah has ordered the state or the flag, the United States flag at state facilities and to be taken down, to half-mast. So we might revisit that later. But here's Charlie Kirk, a very, very young Charlie Kirk with Candace Owens. They were very good friends. Candace was in such, I believe Candace was in such grief yesterday. She didn't even do a show. She just posted on X that she was absolutely shocked. Happy to see that Prime Minister Mark Carney did respond. And some people say he was a little late. However, he did respond. And a lot of his left-leaning liberals will not like that he responded. So I say congratulations in this instance, Mr. Carney. I'm appalled by the murder of Charlie Kirk. There's no justification for political violence, and every act of it threatens democracy. My thoughts and prayers are with his family, friends, and loved ones. Yes, here's Candace Owens' response. I can't process this. And of course, she didn't do a show yesterday. Donald J. Trump on Truth Social, in honor of Charlie Kirk, a truly great American patriot, I'm ordering all American flags throughout the United States lowered at half-mast until Sunday evening at 6 p.m. I don't know if that's ever been done for a civilian. So it's an incredible act. He posted on Truth Social yesterday, President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday, the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me. And now he's no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. And Daniel Smith posted this with a picture of Charlie Kirk and his wife, Erica, and his 1-year-old son, 3-year-old daughter. And Daniel Smith, God bless you for putting this up. I'm saddened and horrified by the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are with Charlie and his family. Political violence has no place in a free and democratic society and must be condemned without reservation. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, soon to be the official opposition leader again, put this up on X. We must all strongly denounce the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Political violence is never justified. The attacker must be brought to justice and free speech must be upheld. Pray for Mr. Kirk and his family. Well, thank you, Pierre, for those very, very profound thoughts. And to say that's Donald Trump was quick on the draw with this yesterday, and I think he really, really is, somebody who's going to miss Charlie Kirk very much. And so I want to go through some of the videos we have here. I'm going to save the Clayton Morris video here. And like I say, we'll be talking about the ostrich farms later, because this is another hit piece from the CBC via Canadian Press. And I'm just disgusted at this article. But before I get to the videos, I wanted to read what I put on Human Events this morning. And I'm quite proud of it here. And here we go. Yeah, like I say, this article was just went up this morning, a tribute to Charlie Kirk. I was proud to be a part of it. And literally everybody from Jack Posobiec to Libby Emmons, the managing editor of the Post Millennial, Kenny Cody, who is the editor of Human Events, and Andy Nago is on here as well. And just put everybody, all the staff of Human Events, the Post Millennial, and contributors, including myself. And I was so glad I was included in this. I got the word this morning, and I put this together. And here it is. Charlie Kirk was not just a conservative activist. He was a freedom fighter who told the youth of America and the world that they didn't have to settle for monotony and slavery of collectivism. They had the power to think, to embrace liberty, and to question the left-wing assumptions that have dominated universities for decades. He told the left that it could no longer control the minds of young people, and he challenged that control by encouraging and spearheading the sort of open debate in academia that inevitably exposes the sham conclusions and fear-mongering of the neo-Marxists who continue to insist people exist to serve the state, when in reality we all enjoy the precious gift of freedom as an act of God. We mourn Charlie's death. We honor his legacy. We pray for his wife and children. We insist that the criminal who committed this atrocity will be punished. We resolve that this terrorism against conservative voices be stopped. Kirk's political assassination represents the left's attempt to sabotage his political outreach and massive success with the young people who comprise America's future. Even in death, the left-wing media could not embrace a moment of silence to honor Kirk's accomplishments and love for his country. Instead, they wondered how President Donald Trump would use this event to bolster his power and persecute his enemies, revealing just how bankrupt is their reporting and how bereft of compassion is their attitude and how toxic is their philosophy. But the song of freedom is never silenced, even if its chief troubadours are murdered. Charlie's work has not ended with his horrible murder. The hundreds of thousands, the millions of youths he inspired and motivated are already coming forward to take up the torch of liberty. Charlie's message will continue to reverberate and resonate at campuses around the world and in future elections where young people ensure the longevity and hegemony of freedom. And we, who were deeply moved by his love of freedom and country, will push back with an even greater degree of intensity against those who would dare murder to advance their hideous political agenda. They shall not pass. So I was very proud to write that. And I appreciate you listening, because I don't often read my work to you that I do on new media and in other outlets like that. So wanted to share a few of these videos with you, because this is incredible here, just absolutely incredible.
Environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up with what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt,
and that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
Yeah, sorry, Mike was muted there. That's the unfortunate environment we're in. It's incredible, some of this material that has been circulating since this. And there's another one here that I wanted to share with you. And it's absolutely astounding what is going up here. Sorry, I just have to get this for you here, and it's
appreciate that. But right now, with all due respect, we're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire, and we're going to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth.
So that's the kind of talk we're getting from Democrats. That's a Democratic governor of California. Yeah, Newsom. And that's how he's talking. This is, incredibly violent talk, and it's quite frightening to hear. Here's the governor of Utah talking about this event yesterday. This is quite touching.
This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to 2 young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened.
Yes, can't overemphasize that enough. This is not just about Charlie Kirk. It's about how the left thinks it can get away with this, how it can assassinate political figures. It tried to assassinate President Trump twice. And of course, we still don't know exactly what happened in either of those attempted assassinations. The first guy was apparently doing range practice with the Department of Homeland Security, was apparently making trips to Washington in the vicinity of the FBI headquarters, was a virtual unknown, and it's no social media history, all disappeared. Everything in the house disappeared. We don't know the answers to that. And of course, the second assassination attempt, where this individual was on the golf course in Palm Beach, Florida, at Trump's own golf course, and was aiming a rifle at Donald Trump before he was stopped. Very, very much unknown about this individual. He's apparently trying to solicit mercenaries to go fight in Ukraine. And once again, this was a Trump hater, but we don't know why, what really motivated him to try this. Was he put up to it? And with Charlie Kirk, we know it was very, I'm going to show you this report in a minute from my friend Clayton Morris of Redacted. And some interesting material in it, because there's a lot of unanswered questions about what went on here. But before we get there, here's a great report from this is how things look right before the assassination. Charlie was out there giving out to people.
You got it.
And very sad, very, very, very sad day. And I think most of us thought he was going to get through this, because the initial report said his condition had stabilized, but it certainly did not look very hopeful if you saw some of the video. And that's exactly where we were left And I want to show this clip from Redacted. It's about 5 minutes long, but there's a lot of material in it that makes you wonder, why do we have so many unanswered questions again about a political assassination? And a lot of things here just are very mysterious. And you have to remember, Utah is one of the most, conservative states in the union. It's Mormon country. It votes Republican as a state, and it votes Republican federally. And of course, it seems very ironic that this sort of assassination of a conservative activist would occur in a very conservative state. You could see this being more likely in California or even New York, where there's a lot more of deranged liberals walking around. But it really does drive me crazy how the deranged liberals in the media are trying to distract your attention from the fact that this is political terrorism being waged by those on the, I won't even say extreme left. Sometimes these people are just absolutely out of their minds with political hatred towards conservative figures. And I think that's exactly what went on here. But here's an excellent report from Clayton Morris. And if you watched Redacted yesterday, he started the broadcast at 4 o'clock announcing that Charlie Kirk was in stable condition. Within 15 minutes, Clayton had received word from a source of his at the hospital where he was taken that no, it was over, that he had succumbed to the bullet wounds. Apparently, there were 2 shots fired. And once again, this was not clear at the beginning. It looked like 1 shot fired. And a lot of other unanswered questions that Clayton deals with, I think, quite well in this report here.
I think we're at a tipping point moment for this country, and I don't say that lightly. I think what happened today in the assassination of Charlie Kirk is a tipping point moment. I'm going to talk more about that in a second, but I just wanted to come in and say a few words. I've just been thinking about this nonstop since it happened this afternoon. We were, of course, live during our show this afternoon when we knew what happened, but then watching and waiting and hoping and praying that he would make it, and then getting information from the hospital letting us know live on the air that he didn't make it. It's absolutely devastating. I'm absolutely heartbroken, number one, for his little boy, 1-year-old little boy, 3-year-old little girl who are now fatherless, for his wife, first and foremost. And then I am absolutely gutted for our country. I'm devastated about what this means for the future of our country. This does not end well. And when you have all of this rhetoric of violence from people across social media calling for attacks on people like Charlie, we knew it was going to come to this. We knew it was inevitable, sadly. Assassination attempt on President Trump, attacks on other fellow conservative commentators, swatting across the board, showing up at people's homes with SWAT teams, trying to get people killed, hoping that someone will have a gun in their hand so a SWAT team can kill a person. This was going to happen. But I have a lot of unanswered questions about today. And I just want to kind of go through them. Watching the video so many times, getting analysis from friends and law enforcement and sources that were there at the event. How did this happen? How did a shooter who was on the roof and seen by many students, pointed out by many students, allowed to lay prone at 200 yards in a perfectly prone position in order to fire on Charlie?
Get right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying. He just ran from over, where's my finger? Well, from over there, ran in. And now he's right there. Just saying.
To fire a perfectly timed shot right as he's speaking about violence in the United States, right as he's talking about trans mass shooters in the United States and asking us to all reflect on this? This is a question we've asked on our show. Why are so many of these mass shootings carried out by people that are likely on SSRIs and some sort of medication, mental illness, and they're trans? Can we have that conversation? No, let's just shoot you instead. We don't want to talk about that because that's intolerant. Why was he wearing body armor? Why was Charlie Kirk wearing body armor? And of course, the way that the bullet hits him, you can see it clearly bouncing right off. It was a kill shot aimed right for his heart, to hit his aorta, to hit that entire, as a friend in law enforcement, former FBI told me today, he said it was like a mess of pipes right there. That you don't shoot someone in the head, that's for the movies. You shoot for the heart because any professional would do it that way. So Charlie was wearing body armor. It deflects the bullet up, hits him right in the neck, and kills him. But more importantly, why was there no ambulance or EMT on site? In Utah, as in other states, state regulations require gatherings over a certain percentage of people, over a certain number of people. Even cities have different regulations, require an EMT on site and an ambulance. Go to any local carnival in your neighborhood, and you'll see an ambulance parked there, ready in case someone is injured. Why at this event with thousands of people? No ambulance, no medical, nothing. And so when he's shot, how does he get carried away? By 6 individuals grab him and throw him into the back of an SUV. Incredibly difficult to try to administer any kind of care on someone in an SUV. No room to move around, no way to really administer any kind of CPR, try to stop the bleeding, do what they can in the back of an SUV. No ambulance. So likely died on the way to the hospital. Why do we not have this shooter? FBI Director Kash Patel just moments ago posting that those individuals that they rounded up initially and were shared all over social media. Even the university said that they had captured the shooter, wasn't the shooter at all. Who were these individuals? Who were these people? Eyewitnesses immediately said, this guy didn't do it. He's like a homeless guy. He has no money. We know the guy. He lives in our neighborhood. Like, this guy didn't shoot him. Other individuals rounded up. Why did one person who was rounded up, as you can see here, have a pellet gun in his possession?
A pellet gun in his possession. It just gets more bizarre and more unwieldy and more mysterious the more you delve into this. And I think that was some great reporting from Krayden, because we didn't really see a lot of that yesterday in terms of how odd this whole thing was. And it just, the more we look into it, it's going to get odder. And by the way, this is the 24th anniversary of September 11th, 2001. And I'm sure a lot of you, as I'm talking to you this morning, can remember where you were on that day. And it's kind of spooky to me that this event occurred one day before September 11th. And September is I don't know how to exactly say this or articulate it, but there's a lot of foreboding about this month for me. There's just so many things happening around the world. We're narrowly close to NATO becoming involved in some kind of conflict with Russia. The same week this is all happening. And it just, and of course the events in Gaza continue to unfold, and the misery there and the killing there. And we don't know exactly what happened yesterday with Charlie Kirk, because it's very strange. Now, as I said, I was hoping to have Katie Passonnet from Universal Ostrich Farms on. Something has happened this morning, and I'm a little concerned because, of course, the deadline or the stay period where the authorities agreed they would not enter the farm and capture and kill the ostriches has passed on Tuesday. And Katie told me yesterday she had a lot to share with me this morning. And the last communication was, yeah, we'll see you in the morning. And I've been trying to contact her while some of these videos have been playing. I'm getting no answer. So I'm very concerned for the family and what's going on out there. If I can get her later, I'll do a second show today because I think this is very, very important. And I wanted to show you what we were going to talk about because this is an incredible story. New analysis indicates higher lethality of avian flu at BC Ostrich Farm. CFIA vet, that's Canadian Food Inspection Agency vet. Now, I'll just read a bit of this because you're going to say, holy nothing burger, Batman. This is a Canadian press story that the CBC picked up. And of course, CBC did a massive hit piece against the farm a couple of weeks ago. And we showed that to you under the guise of a fact check. Remember that one? And they had that, she sounded more like a BBC import. And we joked about whether or not that was the CBC's example of temporary foreign workers at the station. And I had Viva Fry on the show with me, along with Katie, and we were talking about just how ridiculous this so-called fact check was, which was a hit piece. But here's another hit piece, because it doesn't address anything new, and it doesn't offer anything to justify the slaughter of these birds that could potentially still happen. And what I wanted to hear from Katie today is, how is it going with the Supreme Court of Canada? Is it possible to get the Supreme Court to hear this case? And that's what this farm needs to know. But here's what the story says here. An affidavit by Canada's Deputy Chief Veterinarian says new analysis has confirmed ostriches at a British Columbia farm that is fighting a cull order for its flock were sickened by unique and more lethal strain of the avian influenza virus. Oh, that was last November. The affidavit by Kathy Furness with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, CFIA, says further investigation of samples taken from the birds revealed the, quote, novel reassortment, unquote, of the virus has, quote, enhanced the pathogenicity, excuse me, of the, quote, unquote, of the strain. It says the strain was, quote, among the most virulent, unquote, tested at Canada's National Microbiology Laboratory. Oh, is that the one in Winnipeg that was, yeah, that's the one in Winnipeg that was infiltrated by Chinese spies. And even low doses killed mice within a few days. Here's the kicker. Here's the key line in this non-story. But Furness says the CFIA doesn't know how likely it is that the ostriches at the Edgewood, BC farm remain infected or will become infected. You know why? Because they won't allow the birds to be tested. And if Katie and her family test the birds, they're subject to 6 months in jail and a $200,000 fine per ostrich. So the government doesn't want to know if these are healthy birds. The government doesn't want the farm to prove these are healthy birds. They want to continue to cull birds in BC because it's control. This is an invasion of private property. This is persecution of farmers. And this is an attack on livelihood and livestock. And this is disgusting. And I can tell you, I will not rest. I will not be stilled. I will not be silenced while this continues on. I'll just read the rest of this. The document was filed on Tuesday with the Federal Court of Appeal, where the agency is arguing against another stay delaying the cull of about 400 ostriches, 399 to be exact. The farm's owners say the flock is healthy and has acquired herd immunity. Yes, it has. Since the CFIA ordered the cull on December 31st. Lady Passatnay Farm spokesperson and daughter of its co-owner says in a Facebook post Wednesday, they are actively responding to filings from the Justice Department. So that's where we stand with that. Like I say, if Katie is okay and able to do an interview, I will do a second show either this afternoon or this evening. Tomorrow, I'm following up with Chris Barber's trucks hearing. We'll put it that way. Chris won't be in the courtroom tomorrow. I asked him yesterday on I direct messaged him yesterday. Are you going to be in Ottawa for this this hearing on Big Red? And he said, no, I'm going to do it remotely. But I think I'm still going to be there because this is incredible. If the government decides, the provincial government of Ontario, if the Crown decides it has the right to expropriate a man's vehicle, his livelihood, this to me demonstrates nothing but the punitive nature of this whole case. This is to punish people for protesting something the government didn't want them protesting. Now, I want to have a look at some of your comments here. Serena Modafferi. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. You will be missed. We have quite an argument going on here. Yeah, I mean, it's sickening. Tree writes, it's sickening that a man like Charlie Kirk assassinated for peaceful dialogue and being a Christian conservative. Yeah, it's very sickening. Too many people doing victory dances. That's from Tim Spangler. Thank you, Tim. This from Marini Crosby. Rest in peace, Charlie. I loved what you did for our youth, making their lives matter. I cried all day. Yeah, we have a bit of a debate going on in terms of who was responsible for those, and I'm not going to get into that right now because we don't know enough. And thank Valerie, thank you for your good morning to me and all the friends here. And Edna Jedinak, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. You will be missed. And Susie, thank you, Susie. You've always got the nicest things to say. Bless you, David. Exceptional as always. Our Father above was attacked, and all who follow him. We must stand on guard for truth with all our might. Thank you, Susie, for that very, very kind remark. Yeah, I'm glad to see this this episode has generated so much activity in the comment section. You know, great job, Dave. I hope that Nelson K, great job, Dave. I hope that was referring to my contribution to human events. I was quite proud of it. And I'm just trying to find a few more. Believe me, you know, you're welcome to comment. Just, you know, don't write anything that's going to get you or me in trouble. Don't say things that are hateful or racist or unnecessary. Especially at a time like this. We're mourning the loss of a really good man. Mr. Intro, I was up late battling online trolls. Scotty, right? So, yeah, well, that's something we all battle, Scotty. So, at any rate, we've got some great comments here, and I'm going to have a look at these more closely because, you know, it's nice to know what everybody's thinking about this. I'll be back in a minute with some concluding remarks after this brief message from our. Oh.
Thanks, Donna, awake for the Rumble rant.
And thank you for all of those comments today. We've been talking about that, and I always, neglect to talk about those on Rumble who have generously provided your feedback, and the Rumble rants as well. And we're going to be focusing on those as well as the comments on YouTube, because we need to focus on Rumble in a big way, and that's very important. So it's yesterday was a tragic day. Today's a sad day. Thanks for watching, and we're going to continue to keep our finger on the pulse of all of these issues globally and nationally that are affecting our lives, that are taking away our freedom, that are infringing our free speech, that are trying to stop us from reaching our full potential as free people. And this has been I guess to some extent, a difficult chapter of this broadcast, but bittersweet in many ways, because we remember how much good Charlie Kirk has done and how many people he influenced to do good as well. And that's something we can't ignore. So thank you for watching today. I'll be back again tomorrow. Not sure how it's going to be time-wise, because I'm probably going to the trial to see what's going to happen to Big Red. So it might be a little later tomorrow, but we will see what happens. Thank you so much for watching today, and God bless. Godspeed to all of you, and we'll be back and see you tomorrow.